Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 State of the Youth Address. Here at the PAGCOR Event Center, we are gathered here today to take a closer look at the journey we all have taken together, our collective achievements in advancing youth development, and the areas we must continue to focus our energy and commitment. This year's SOYA is not just gathering of youth leaders. With us as well are our dedicated city officials, partners from key departments, and valued stakeholders who continue to work hand in hand to advance the youth agenda of NAGA. We warmly acknowledge and thank each of you for being here with us today. Your presence reminds us that youth development is truly a shared responsibility. And to formally begin, may we request everyone to please stand for the ecumenical prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and the Heart of Bicol hymn.
Iyuko po natin ang ating mga ulo at damhin ang presensya ng Panginoon. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Diyos ng paglingap at pagkapantay-pantay, taimtim naming itinataas sa iyo ang bawat kabataang nagyanyo, yaong mga nasa paaralan at yaong mga hindi makapasok, yaong nagtatrabaho at yaong nawalan ng hanap buhay, yaong may kapansanan at yaong may pinapasan, yaong mga namumuno at yaong mga tahimik lang na lumalaban. Hipuin mo ang puso ng bawat isa upang maramdaman nila na sila ay mahalaga, may kakayahan at may puwang sa mundong ito. Gabayan mo sila sa paglikha ng kinabukasang hindi marahas, hindi mapagpabaya, kundi may pag-unawa, pagpapatawad at pagmamahal. Amen. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo.
Bayang mabibig, pelas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa libid mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiging, sa manlulupi, di ka masisingin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong butaw, may nilagang tulad namin sa paglayang minamahal, ang kisag ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may maniligi, lupa ng araw ng bakit pagsito, pagkaray namin sa piling mo, aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
all be seated. And to set the tone for this afternoon's gathering, we will now witness an audiovisual presentation highlighting the spirit and journey of our youth sector. So we will now move on to the message of support from our partners in government, whose leadership and guidance strengthen our work for the youth. To start, may we call on Mr. Elmer Villanueva, DILG officer, for his message.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon po sa Gabos. Good afternoon. Ayan. So before I proceed with my message of support, please allow me to greet our city officials. We have Honorable Jesse R. Albius, sir. Honorable Gail Abunal Gomez, and Honorable Jill Rosales. So, of course, we also have the man of the hour, our city councilor and SK Federation President, Honorable Jefferson Romeo B. Felix. So, also joining us this afternoon, nandito po si Sir Rayan Cedric Rentoy, sir. We have our city youth officials, City Youth Mayor Honorable Mabeth Blanco, City Youth Vice Mayor Honorable Jamin Sabaybay, and the rest of the City Youth Councilors. Sa gabos po na SK Chairpersons and SK officials of Naga City. Of course, our NCCYD officers and members, and our partners from TESDA, DepEd, and NYC. Good afternoon again. Dakulawang pong kaugmahan sa parte ko na maging bahagi ng momentous event na ito. In my research, grabe my research, this is another pioneering initiative na nagsimula dito sa Naga City. Sabi ko nga, 26 years na po ako sa DILG, but this is the first time that I will be experiencing the delivery of a State of the Youth Address. Yan. So kudos and congratulations, Consi Jefferson. Tinatawag ko to si Consi na iho because ang age ng mga SK ay age na lang ng mga anak ko. So, ang iba ang tawag sa akin itay, parang walang pera. Pero ang iba ang tawag dad. Yan. So anyway, this is a very important event, no? Not only because i-deliver yung ating State of the Youth Address, but because more than that, this is actually a call for action. I believe that this event poses a challenge to each and every Nagenyo youth to transform yourselves from being mere observers to major actors. So, tunay po na dakol, as in darakula ang problema kang kabataan. No, we are all aware of that. Pero we believe na mas darakula po ang puso, as in mas dakol ang magayon na kaisipan kang kabataan kang Naga City. No? Kaya kita po nagtutubod na daing problema, daing issue, kang kabataan na daing matatawang kisolusyon. Lalo na po kung magtatarabangan kita. So on our part, of course, I'm happy to announce that the DILG, in partnership with the SK Federation and the City Government of Naga, will be implementing the Capacitating Urban Communities for Peace and Development, or CUCPD. Now, the CUCPD is under Executive Order number 70. No, if you are familiar with it, EO 70 is about the whole of nation approach and creating the task force in ending local communist armed conflict. So, for Region 5, we are very fortunate that Naga City lang po ang recipient ng activity ito. So, we are welcoming 75 participants from the youth sector. Actually, the event focuses on the youth alone. So, si Consi Jefferson ang in charge sa pre-registration. No? So, everybody is invited, but we will be limiting our participants to 75, coming from the various subsectors of the youth. No? So we have in-school youth, out-of-school youth, working youth, youth with disabilities, and ano ba yun? LGBTQ. LGBTQ, ano nga ang tama? I+. Akala ko LGBTQ, RST. Hindi naman. So, and other subsectors from the youth. Ano? So, bala na po si Consi Jefferson sa PubMat nito para sa mas madali natin maintindihan. So, in closing, no, I'd like to point this out. Kami, mga young ones, spelled as O-N-C-E. So we were young ones, just like you. Kayo, mga young ones, O-N-E-S. Now, kami mga young ones, meron naman ditong side na to, yung mga young ones. We are very rich, not in money. Minsan, oo naman. But we are very rich in passion, in experience, and wisdom. Ano? Kayo naman ng mga kabataan, you are very rich in energy, ideas, no? And coupled with technology. So kung magtutulungan tayo, no, if we will be able to mix all these things well, I'm sure that we will go a long, long way. So let me just close by thanking again Councilor Jefferson Romeo Felix for taking this first step, for opening our eyes, yan, for making us understand, and for taking us deep into the journey of the present state of the Nagueño youth. Again, DILG Naga City is here to support you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Our City Local Government Operations Officer, Mr. Elmer Villanueva. And now, we move to the important segment of the program. This is the formal constitution of the joint parliamentary session to be presided over by the SK Federation President.
The joint parliamentary session of the SK Federation of Naga City, the NCCYD, and the city youth officials is now called to order. Secretary of the SK Federation, please do the roll call.
Roll call. Barangay Abella, Honorable Shimri Talcano. Barangay Bagong Bayan Norte, Honorable Florabil Paligor. Barangay Bagong Bayan Sur, Honorable Patricia May Dimabayaw. Barangay Balatas, Honorable Joseph Ebasco Jr. Barangay Kalawag, Honorable Patrick Bernas. Barangay Kararayan, Honorable Jeffrey Bilbao. Barangay Carolina, Honorable Charmaine Bakay. Barangay Congrande, Honorable Marinel May Chica. Barangay Concepcion Pequeña, Honorable Micah Imperial. Barangay Dayangdang, Honorable James Joshua Manlangit. Barangay Del Rosario, Honorable Cedric Azanya. Barangay Dinaga, Honorable Jose Maria de la Cruz. Barangay Igualdad, Honorable Jamaica Sonyas. Barangay Lerma, Honorable Maria Angelica Pujado. Barangay Liboton, Honorable Don Valen Coladina. Barangay Mabolo, Honorable Marlon Casilaw. Barangay Pacol, Honorable Rosary Diaz. Barangay Panikwason, Honorable John Marcosa. Barangay Peña Francia, Tricia May del Castillo. Barangay Sabang, Honorable John Nino Rialda. Barangay San Felipe, Honorable Nika Navera. Barangay San Francisco, Honorable Saldi Bergais Jr. Barangay San Isidro, Honorable Christopher Ken Labrador Mendoza. Barangay Santa Cruz, Honorable Jefferson Romeo Felix. Barangay Tabuco, Honorable Cristobal Cambe. Barangay Tinago, Honorable Christine Ross Malinisa, and Barangay Triangulo, Honorable Jaila Mir Dangka. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Secretary. Secretary of the City Youth Sangguniang Panlunsod, please do the roll call.
Honorable Jamin Phoebe Opiana Sabaybay, City Youth Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer. Roll call on the members. City Youth Councilors, Honorable Gian Marco Balane Rances, Honorable Chloe Gil Casilaw Paco, Honorable John Sebastian Ann Flores, Honorable Janelle Yaneta Polillo, Honorable Angelina Floriano Balatero, Honorable Yuan Angelo Perit Pacao, Honorable Fatima Yanga, and Honorable Alexandria Ray Crisantogo. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. May I now invite the City Youth Vice Mayor to join us here in front, and also the SK Federation Officer, Honorable Joseph Ibasco. City Youth Vice Mayor, please render your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable City Mayor, Honorable Vice Mayor, members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, Sangguniang Kabataan Chairpersons, the City Youth Sangguniang Panlungsod, the Naga City Council for Youth Development, fellow youth leaders, esteemed guests, and the young people of Naga City. Youthful greetings to everyone. By the authority of this chair, this joint parliamentary session is hereby convened to receive the 2025 State of the Youth Address, an event of historic significance and a milestone in a journey of youth governance in our city. Today, we affirm that young people are not leaders of tomorrow alone, but active architects of the present, shaping policies, driving initiatives, and influencing the course of our shared future. May this moment mark the start of a tradition where every generation of Nagueño youth takes responsibility for its vision, service, and impact. The floor will now proceed to the State of the Youth Address.
But before anything else, let us call first Honorable Rances for the adoption.
Mr. Chair, I move to the adoption of the State of the City Youth Address in today's regular session. So move, Mr. Chair.
State of the Youth Address is now adopted. May I now relinquish the presidership to the City Youth Vice Mayor.
The Chair acknowledges the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation President to deliver the State of the Youth Address.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Half of Naga City is young, and today we tell the story of how we are shaping its future. But first, Honorable Maria Leonor G. Robredo, Mayor of Naga City, our steadfast Vice Mayor, Honorable Gabriel H. Bordado, distinguished guests of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, department heads of the city government, the members of the Naga City Council for Youth Development, the city youth officials of Naga, fellow Sangguniang Kabataan chairpersons from the 27 barangays, officers of student governments, leaders of youth organizations and youth-serving organizations, our barangay officials, partners from national government agencies, the academe, the non-government organizations, faith-based groups, civic bodies, and the private sector. And to the young people of Naga City, a warm and youthful greetings to everyone. Today is not just another ceremonial gathering. This is the first ever State of the Youth Address in the history of Naga City. A defining moment that affirms our rightful place in the governance story of our city. For the first time, the combined efforts of the Sangguniang Kabataan of the 27 barangays, our city youth officials, student governments, youth organizations, and the city government's efforts and youth programs and the initiatives of our partner agencies will be presented in one unified, public, and accountable report to the people. In 2023, as a City Youth Vice Mayor, I sat with then City Youth Councilors Rochelle Portada and Edward Joshua Mendoza, imagining a day when Naga City would pause to take stock of the work, dreams, and challenges of its young people. And that day has arrived. What we once envisioned has become a tradition in the making. The State of the Youth Address, an annual exercise of transparency, data-driven governance, and shared responsibility. A platform meant to endure beyond our terms and set a standard of excellence for the generations to come. Before we look at the programs and policies, let us first ground ourselves in the bigger story of the Filipino youth, in which we stand as an active force. The story of our youth in Naga is part of a much bigger story. That of a nation still young in both spirit and population. With nearly half of Filipinos under 25, the Philippines is living through its most decisive years, and the people who will shape them are already here. We are also among the most digitally connected generations in the world, with most young Filipinos online and active on social media. This connectivity gives us unmatched power to learn, to organize, and to make our voices heard. But it also challenges us to use this power responsibly, to guard our mental health, and to build communities grounded in truth and respect. Also at the same time, the national picture of youth shows that progress and problems often move side by side. More young people are staying in school, yet too many still leave because of poverty and family responsibilities. Teenage pregnancy is declining, especially in our region, but of course, one case is too much for us to bear. New threats such as mental health struggles and rising HIV cases demand urgent attention. In the labor market, youth are finding their place again after the pandemic years. Though unemployment remains stubbornly higher than the national average. These realities form the backdrop of our work here in Naga City, where half of our people are young and where the call for solutions is urgent and immediate. And when we listen to the voices of our youth, one truth rises above all others. Education remains their foremost concern. Education is the single most powerful equalizer of opportunity. It is the foundation of every young person's dream, and it is the greatest investment we can make in the future of Naga City. We have always believed that no youth should ever be left behind. Not because of poverty, not because of circumstance, and not because of lack of opportunity. This belief was confirmed during our local youth development plan consultations, where education emerged at the foremost concern of our young people. Time and again, our young people reminded us that while tuition in public schools may be free, the invisible costs of schooling continue to break the dreams of many. Transportation fares, uniforms, notebooks, meals, and project requirements may appear small to some. But for low-income families, they represent a daily barrier that forces students to skip classes or stop altogether. It is not rare to hear children prioritizing work over school, or girls sacrificing their own education to care for siblings at home. For them, survival has become the prerequisite that overshadows learning. Beyond affordability, our young people also raised concerns about fairness and access. Many deserving students remain unaware of scholarship opportunities or excluded by requirements that privilege only the top performers. Our consultations also revealed a painful truth. The growing population of out-of-school youth and ALS learners, or alternative learning system learners, are not being supported in ways that they truly enable reintegration. Too many are left in limbo, finishing modules without acquiring workplace skills, completing classes without guidance on their next step, or worse, dropping out of ALS entirely because of irregular schedules, lack of resources, or absence of follow-ups. Alternative learning system learners themselves noted the absence of digital tools, career mapping, and transition programs that would connect their education to meaningful employment or further studies. Many of them also complete requirements on paper, but not with the life skills necessary to thrive forward. On top of this, ALS learners and out-of-school youth often find themselves excluded from SK activities. Mainstream scholarships or developmental programs reinforcing a sense of marginalization and neglect. Our youth also spoke candidly about systemic gaps, a lack of consistent career guidance after senior high school, weak remedial programs in literacy and numeracy, limited mentorship for struggling learners, poor internet access in upland barangays like Panikwason and Carolina, and the silent crisis of pandemic learning loss that still haunts classrooms. And for too many students, education feels like a race where the starting lines are not the same. Perhaps most alarming is the silent crisis in foundational learning. Youth admitted that they or their peers have advanced through grade levels despite struggling to read or comprehend basic texts. Educators confirmed also that reading comprehension is a persistent weakness, exacerbated by the pandemic's learning loss and by the absence of barangay-level remedial programs or accessible learning materials. Beyond literacy, many students lack access to supplemental academic resources, such as tutorials, review centers, or licensure exam preparation programs. And these gaps contribute to declining performance and low pass rates in national assessments, creating long-term disadvantages in competitiveness and employability. And equally significant is the gap in the civic education. Many youth expressed a lack of exposure to the very principles, practices, and opportunities that would prepare them to participate meaningfully in governance and nation building. Without stronger integration of civic education in schools and communities, the promise of an engaged, responsible, and democratic citizenry remains unfulfilled. And these concerns speaks not only to education as an academic pursuit, but to education as a civic foundation. One that equips young people to be not only skilled workers, but informed and active citizens. Moving forward, this year, through the alternative learning system, the city has reached 1,047 learners across 27 barangays. 601 of them are male and 446 are female. The majority, 607 learners, are pursuing junior high school equivalency, while 249 are in senior high school, 149 in elementary, and 42 in basic literacy programs. Barangays like Cararayan, Peña Francia, and Mabolo recorded the highest enrollments, while Dayangdang, Dinaga, and San Isidro is registered to be the lowest, but of course, it's given that they have small population. And these figures remind us both of what we have achieved and what we still must do. ALS is also not just about education. It is about second chances. It is for the out-of-school youth for young parents, for breadwinners who had stopped schooling, but also for those who still refuse to give up on their dreams. Beyond the alternative learning system, our Naga City Scholarship Program also continues to open doors of opportunity. Today, there are over 850 plus active tertiary scholars supported across our colleges and universities. For the school year 2024 to 2025 alone, the city invested almost 9 million for 650 scholars in 23 schools. The largest allocations went to Ateneo de Naga University with 2.46 million for 136 scholars. University of Nueva Cáceres, 1.59 million for 83 scholars. The Naga College Foundation, 1.04 million for 88 scholars. And BISCAST with 780,000 for 78 scholars. The results of these investments are now clear. In the latest batch of graduates of our scholars, 181 Naga City scholars completed their degrees. Many graduated with honors, and 4 of them even graduated summa cum laude, the highest possible distinction. Imagine that 4 of the brightest graduates in our universities were once students whose dreams might have ended if not for the support of the city. Their success proves that when Naga invests in its youth, the return is excellence, leadership, and hope. We also continue to recognize the service of our barangay leaders by extending support to their families. Through the automatic scholarship program for barangay officials' dependents, we supported 13 scholars in the first semester and 29 in the second semester, with more than 528,000 in total assistance. Education is not only the responsibility of the city government. Our Sangguniang Kabataan has also stepped up as true partners in advancing learning. By virtue of the Education Code of Naga City, it is mandated that 25% of our SK's annual budget is dedicated to education scholarships and assistance at the barangay level. This year, when we add up the commitments of all the 27 barangays, our SKs, that investment totals to 8,404,884.48 cents. And this is historic, actually. It means education is not only a citywide priority, it is also a barangay-level guarantee that no matter where you live, your SK is mandated to invest in your education. And now, we go further. In 2023, we enacted the Doktor para sa Naga Medical Scholarship Program, which was authored by former City Councilor Doc Sonny Ranyola and former City Councilor Joselito Del Rosario, paving way for aspiring doctors to serve our city. This program covers full tuition fees and includes 5,000 monthly stipend for living expenses. In return, scholars must commit to 5 years of service at an LGU health facility after their licensure examination and maintain strong grades, of course. This initiative ensures that Naga City General Hospital and our expanded health services are staffed with compassionate and homegrown professionals. My dear fellow Nagueños, every peso spent on education is not an expense. It is a seed of hope. Every scholarship is not simply financial aid. It is an act of faith in the potential of a young person. And every AL session is not just a class. It is a second chance to rewrite a future. But we must not stop here. We must strengthen support in barangays with low ALS enrollment. We must expand mentorship, and academic assistance for our scholars. And we must prepare our youth with the digital, technical, and leadership skills needed to thrive in a fast-changing world. On adolescent and youth health. When we ask young people of Naga to speak honestly about their health realities through the local youth development plan consultations, which the SK Federation led in all the 27 barangays, the answers were loud and clear. From every corner of our city, 3 pressing concerns rose to the top. Number 1, adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health. Number 2, mental health. And number 3, substance abuse. These are not isolated issues. They are systemic challenges that define the lives, the opportunities, and futures of an entire generation. It is for this very reason that last year, SK Federation has partnered with the City Social Hygiene Clinic and the City Population and Nutrition Office, integrating these concerns into our barangay-level youth programs. And just last August 11, 2025, we held the very first Youth Health Summit in partnership with the Department of Health Regional Office. And this was very historic because for the first time, the young people themselves, also health experts and government, came together in Naga City to confront these challenges head-on. Teenage pregnancy remains one of the most urgent issues. Too many young women face unplanned pregnancies that disrupt their education and limit their long-term opportunities. This stems from the lack of access to accurate sexual health education, the persistence of cultural taboos, and peer pressures that fill the silence where guidance should be. For many, health centers are unwelcoming. Schools provide limited or outdated information, and misinformation spreads unchecked. This also leaves our youth vulnerable, not only to early pregnancy, but also to HIV and other sexually transmitted infections that remain poorly understood at the community level. According to the City Population and Nutrition Office, and the City Health Office and the City's Civil Registry Office, Naga City continues to make progress in reducing adolescent pregnancies. Yet it remains one of the most pressing challenges confronting our young people today. From January to June 2025, 90 teenage mothers aged 19 and below were recorded in our city. The highest concentrations were in the older teen years, with 27 cases at the age of 18 and 31 cases at the age of 19, together making up nearly 2/3 of all the cases. Monthly trends showed fluctuations, with January recording the highest at 26 cases, followed by April with 17 and June with 16. While cases among the younger ages are fewer, the data confirms national research that later adolescence carries higher pregnancies risks due to socioeconomic pressures, early cohabitation, and inconsistent contraceptive use. But alongside these realities comes a story of hope. If we look at the adolescent birth rate, Naga City has outperformed both the national and regional averages in a remarkable way. In 2021, our ABR stood at 26.26. By 2024, it had dropped to 20.85. And in just the first half of 2025, our ABR is 9.35. less than half of the national average of 25.2, and far below the Bicol regional average of 27.71. In simple terms, for every 10 adolescent births in Bicol, only about 4 are in Naga. The story does not end here. Repeat pregnancies among adolescents aged 10 to 19 have steadily declined from 56 cases in 2021 to only 25 in 2024 and 20 in the first half of 2025. Each of those declines means more than just a number. It represents a second chance for a young mother to continue her education, to pursue work, and to rebuild her dreams. These gains have not gone unnoticed globally. In 2024, Naga City was awarded the Global Self-Reliant City Award for the Family Planning and Adolescent Sexual and Reproductive Health under the Challenge Initiative, or the TCI, co-managed by the Zuelig Family Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Institute. This recognition was earned because of 3 years of sustained high-impact practices, adolescent-friendly health facilities, and strong governance structures. More importantly, it affirmed that Naga's adolescent and youth health program can sustain itself without constant external funding, because our city has built its own institutional strength. The city also acted boldly at the policy level. City Ordinance Number 2023-025, authored by Councilor Gail Abonal Gomez, who is with us today, institutionalized the Adolescent and Youth Sexual Reproductive Health Program, ensuring a budget and mandating citywide interventions preventing teenage pregnancy and expand access to reproductive health. Further, in March 2025, we formalized AHEAD through the ISDN with the 35 signatory partners, from barangays and hospitals to schools to NGOs and the ASCI Federation, and even international agencies. This network is now linking every barangay health station and youth-serving institution into one coordinated web of services. On the ground, services have become more accessible. Both City Health Offices 1 and 2 are now DOH Level 1 accredited, while 10 out of 27 barangay health stations are already certified adolescent-friendly, while the rest is in active preparation. Our teen service infrastructure includes the Naga City Teen Center, established in 2017. Also, 10 barangay-based teen centers and 5 school-based teen hubs in high-risk schools. These are safe spaces where young people can seek guidance, access counseling, and receive health services without fear or stigma. Supportive programs have made an impact beyond health alone. The Nutri Nanay program provides nutrition and prenatal care to young mothers. The Adopt a Buntis program, launched in partnership with the Philippine Dental Association, extends free dental care to adolescent mothers, with 14 beneficiaries already served. The Teen Parent Livelihood Program has helped 12 teen parents and 8 parents of malnourished children through skills training and livelihood support, in partnership with the DTI and Metro Peso. Family planning and teen helplines provide confidential consultations, ensuring that no young person feels alone. At the community level, our social and behavior change strategies, the Hearts and Minds seminars, the U4U Teen Trail, the Parent Teens, Parent Teen Talks, and the Usapan series, including Usapang Biba, for teen parents, are reshaping conversations once considered taboo. Today, Families and schools in all 27 barangays are engaged in family health classes where reproductive health is openly discussed with dignity and respect. And under the Safe Motherhood Program of 2025, the City Health Office reports that we have already reached 1,554 pregnant women from January to July, including 84 adolescents aged 15 to 19 and one aged 14. Our antenatal care compliance is 85%, with barangays such as Abelia, Peña Francia, San Francisco, and Triangulo exceeding 100%. Deliveries are overwhelmingly facility-based at 98%, and 91% of newborns were born at normal birth weight. All these efforts tell one story. Naga City is building one of the most progressive and compassionate models of adolescent and youth health in the country. One that is data-driven, holistic, and globally recognized. Yet we must never forget that behind every number is a young life. Every teenage pregnancy is not just a statistic. It is a classroom chair left empty, a dream uninterrupted, a life carrying the weight of tomorrow too early. Our duty as a city is to ensure that these lives are not forgotten, but rebuilt with care, with opportunity and hope. And of course, as your SK Federation, we commit to strengthen peer-to-peer youth health education, to scale up teen hubs until all barangays are covered, and to integrate adolescent health as a priority in every SK program and in the local youth development plan. Because a city that safeguards the health of its young is a city that safeguards its own future. On HIV and AIDS situation, another urgent health concern confronting our city is the rise of HIV and AIDS cases. According to the City Hygiene Clinic, from January to July 2025, a total of 154 confirmed HIV/AIDS cases have been recorded in Naga City. This figure is alarmingly close to the 161 total cases documented for the entire year in 2024, showing a steep increase in just the first 7 months of the year. The majority of those affected are young men between the ages of 17 and 40. Reminding us that HIV is not an abstract global issue. It is a reality affecting our peers, friends, classmates, and colleagues here in Naga. Tragically, the city Hygiene Clinic also reported deaths last year, but it is linked to non-compliance with their proper medication, showing that while HIV is a manageable condition, lives are still being lost due to stigma, misinformation, and lack of consistent care. This local reality connects with a larger national crisis. The Department of Health pushes to propose declaring a national public health emergency, citing the continuous rise in new infections and heavy toll on young people. Naga's rising numbers mirror this national picture, and it compels us to act with urgency of a city that understands the gravity of the threat. The City Hygiene Clinic has also been clear in its guidance. Those who test positive can live normal and fulfilling lives, provided that they adhere to the medication and practice safe and responsible relationships. But the message must go beyond the clinic. As a city, we must prioritize or recognize that the fight against HIV and AIDS is not only medical. It is also social, cultural, and educational. This rising trend calls for stronger awareness campaigns, expanded testing services, confidential counseling, and sustained medication access. It also demands that we break the silence and dismantle the stigma surrounding HIV, so that young people feel safe to come forward, to get tested, and to seek treatment without fear of discrimination. As your SK Federation, we commit to be part of this effort. We will integrate HIV and AIDS awareness into our health advocacy programs, school-based initiatives, and barangay youth campaigns, ensuring that information reaches young people where they are. We will also work with the City Hygiene Clinic and its partners in health to normalize conversations in HIV, to strengthen peer education, and to remind every Nagueño youth, getting tested is not a sign of weakness, but it is a step of courage and responsibility. On mental health struggles are also rising at an alarming rate. Our young people spoke of depression, anxiety, and emotional trauma, fueled by academic pressure, family conflict, bullying, poverty, and unrelenting comparisons magnified by social media. Yet, in the face of this crisis, they are often met with silence. Stigma continues to brand mental illness as weakness, discouraging many from seeking help. Barangay referral systems are almost non-existent yet, for now. Schools are understaffed when it comes to guidance, and grassroots programs remain piecemeal instead of sustained. In the absence of structured support, many youth endure their pain alone, sometimes leading to self-isolation or even suicidal thoughts. According to the City Health Office, from January to June this year, 106 of the 336 individuals who sought mental health services were young people aged 5 to 30 years old. Among them, 87 between 15 and 30 years old, the very heart of our youth. Significantly, 72% were first-time users of these services. And this tells us that the burden is real and growing, but also more young Nagueños are finding the courage to seek help. The conditions they face are sobering. Depression already ranks among the top 3 diagnoses, affecting more than 1 in every 10 patients, alongside psychosis and substance-related challenges. These are not abstract statistics. They represent classmates, friends, and siblings silently fighting battles that cannot be seen. That is why the city acted early. In 2021, through Ordinance Number 2021-028, the Sanggunian has institutionalized the Naga City Mental Health Program, authored by Councilor Gail Abunal Gomez, and embedding mental health as a permanent and funded part of our public health system. Also, in 2024, Resolution Number 2024-542, authored again by Councilor Gail Abunal Gomez, further strengthened this by enabling the appointment of barangay mental health care coordinators in all 27 barangays, ensuring that every community has a direct link to care and referral. On the ground, our city health offices 1 and 2 are at the front lines, offering mental health consults, psychosocial support, and referrals for specialized treatment. For those who cannot afford care, the Medical Access Program for Mental Health ensures the provision of medicines and other assistances. Services such as psychological first aid, and adolescent-friendly clinics are also breaking down stigma and making sure young people find help in safe and welcoming spaces. And because we look ahead, according to the City Health Office, they are preparing to launch their new thrusts or their aspirations on the establishment of a Naga City mental health hub to centralize and expand care, and a community-based mental health services and referral system, linking barangays, schools, and health providers to ensure no young Nagueño is left behind. Here, the role of the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation becomes indispensable. The SKs are not just advocates, of course. They are also at the front lines of prevention and peer support. Across barangays, they have begun organizing mental health awareness campaigns, peer counseling circles, and safe space conversations for young people who may be hesitant to approach formal institutions. Earlier this year, the SK Federation also passed a resolution urging barangays to dedicate a portion of their budget to mental health programs, an unprecedented step that shows how youth leaders themselves are investing in well-being of other peers. They are also working with schools and youth organizations to train the SK officials in basic psychological first aid and referral pathways, ensuring that the first point of contact for a struggling young person could very well be a fellow youth leader who knows how to listen and where to connect them for help. In moments of crisis, the SK Federation as well has mobilized volunteers for psychosocial support during disasters, because we know that calamities wound not only the body, but also the mind. Equally important, the City Youth Sangguniang Panlunsod in 2025, our current batch, passed a resolution of commitment to youth mental health, a clear message that this generation of leaders recognizes mental health as a pillar of development, not a side issue. This resolution binds the youth movement of Naga to long-term advocacy, programming, and partnership with both government and civil society, ensuring that mental health will remain at the forefront of youth policy for the years to come. On substance abuse, a city cannot speak of the youth development without addressing one of the gravest threats to our generation: substance abuse. Cigarettes, vaping, alcohol, and even illegal drugs are increasingly present in peer environments, with some barangays reporting exposure at the very young ages. In certain areas, shabu and marijuana are within reach. With few preventive education programs, limited recreational alternatives, and inconsistent parental supervision, substance experimentation has begun to feel routine rather than risky. According to the City Anti-Drug Abuse Council, or the CADAC, between January and August 2025, Naga intensified its anti-drug initiatives with a clear focus on the youth sector, reaching both schools and communities with education, empowerment, and engagement. At the school level, the Barkada Contra Droga program has been revitalized as a peer-led movement. It is the first, in just the first 8 months of the year, chapters were organized or reorganized in 13 public and 3 private secondary schools, enrolling a total of 1,286 members. And to strengthen youth leadership, CADAC conducted a direction setting and planning workshop for 15 BKD school chapter presidents, sharpening their ability to lead and advocate. And this was followed by the BKD Naga General Assembly, attended by 340 officers and members, where the city's young leaders committed to stand together against illegal drugs. The BKD has also brought advocacy into action. Through the Barkada Joints Brigada initiative, the students of Mabolo National High School and Calawag Elementary School joined community service efforts, showing that the fight against drugs is not only about awareness, but also about building positive alternatives. And beyond peer networks, CADAC carried out an extensive series of drug awareness lectures across schools and barangays. This includes 90 students in Naga City School of Arts and Trades, 50 in Camarines Sur Institute of Science and Technology, 120 in San Isidro National High School, and so on. Even in the barangay level, the SK Tinago mobilized 25 youth for awareness sessions. These efforts demonstrate that no corner of Naga, whether in large high schools or small communities, left untouched by prevention and education programs. But what makes Naga's anti-drug campaign truly remarkable is that it is anchored on policy, strengthened by collaboration, and sustained by community action. CADAC's work integrated into the city's peace and order and public safety plan, or what we call as POPs, and supported by the Barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Councils, or the BADAC, in each barangays, ensuring that prevention is not just events-based, but systemic and mandated. These gains are possible only because CADAC works hand in hand with DepEd for BKD programs, the PNP for community enforcement, barangay councils through their BADACs, and even faith-based and civic organizations that strengthen the moral backbone of our youth advocacy. And also, let me emphasize, your Sangguniang Kabataan Federation is not only supporting these efforts, but is fully part of them. The SK sits in CADAC, aligning our youth development agenda with the city's anti-drug framework. And also through our SK clusters and advocacy programs, we commit to bring anti-drug education deeper into the barangays, to provide meaningful alternatives for the youth, and mobilize peer-led movements as the city's strongest line of defense. And let me also share with you that we have also secured a partnership with the Dangerous Drugs Board through USEC Earl Saavedra. The SK Federation will be implementing, starting this year, a community-based drug rehabilitation facility and a youth anti-drug prevention and education advocacy hub that will be managed jointly by the city government, the SK Federation, and the Naga City Dangerous Drugs Board. And what these efforts show is that Naga City is not passive in the face of drug problem. We are proactive, systemic, and united. From classrooms to the barangays, from ordinances and grassroots movements, we are building a city where resilience is stronger than addiction, where purpose is stronger than temptation, and where our youth are not only protected, but are at the very forefront of the fight. Now, on economic empowerment. Economic empowerment is the backbone of youth development. For what use is education if it cannot lead to opportunity? For what use are skills if they cannot be turned into livelihoods? In Naga City, we believe that no young person should be left behind, not without the tools to build a future of dignity and independence. But before we speak of progress, we must first confront the hard truths our young people bravely shared. During the local youth development plan consultations in all 27 barangays, our youth spoke with honesty and courage about their struggles to find work, to sustain livelihoods, and secure their futures. Too many graduates of senior high school and college find themselves unemployed or underemployed. not because they lack talent, but because their skills do not match the industry demand. Trainings remain outdated, career guidance is limited, and opportunities are scarce. In the barangays, young people often see no job fairs, no linkages, and no local employers, forcing them into informal work or migration to urban centers, where conditions are uncertain and unsafe. Even government programs designed to be a safety net are often out of reach. Documentation barriers, such as missing IDs or the valid IDs, they don't have valid IDs, or birth certificates, keep marginalized youth from accessing SPES or cash for work. Others simply do not hear about these programs at all, highlighting the gaps in promotion and grassroots reach. Entrepreneurial youth brimming with ideas are held back by the absence of mentors, spaces, and startup support. Without seed funding, equipment, and creative hubs to showcase their talents, many give up before they even begin. Those who do persevere often find themselves working in conditions without contracts, protections, or benefits. And reality is especially true for teen breadwinners, out-of-school youth, the PWDs, and young parents, who are too often excluded from livelihood pathways altogether. Underlying all these is a deeper concern: financial literacy. Many young people admitted to struggling with debt, poor saving habits, and impulsive spending, worsened by the pressures of consumer culture online. Without guidance on financial management, even those who find opportunities risk losing them to poor decisions. And these are not isolated stories. Again, they are systemic barriers. They show us that without deliberate investment in job readiness, inclusive training, entrepreneurship support, and financial education, the youth of Naga will continue to struggle at the margins of our economy, instead of standing at its center. These voices remind us that the progress is not measured by the policy alone, but by how no young person is left at the margins of opportunity. And so the challenge was clear. We had to move from hearing these stories into changing them. That is why at the first half of 2025, the city government, through the Metro PESO or the Metro Naga Public Employment Service Office, has been working tirelessly to ensure that our young people are not only prepared for the future, they are also employed, earning, and building the future now. First, for our students. Through the special program for the employment of students, or the SPES, jointly funded by the LGU and the Department of Labor and Employment, 297 young people were given the chance to work part-time while continuing their studies. It's a 3.65 million investment. Alongside these, the Summer Employment for Enrollment, or also known as the SEFE, a localized initiative fully funded by the LGU, supported 482 students with 3.68 million pesos in investment. Together, that is 779 students who were able to earn while learning, proving that poverty will not stand in the way of education. Second, for those who need immediate relief, through the Dole Tupad, 2,306 Nagueños were given short-term employment, exceeding its targets while another 697 benefited under the city's localized e-NSEP program. These may have been temporary jobs, but they meant food on the table, bills paid, and stability regained for hundreds of families. Third, for those preparing to enter the workforce, our Career Development Support Program has already reached 2,393 students and youth, equipping them with employability skills and career guidance. And at the same time, our efforts to connect people directly to opportunity bore fruit. In 2024, a total of 8 job fairs were held, resulting in 1,678 successful placements. And what makes us most proud is that 2 of these job fairs were youth-led. One organized by the SK Federation during the Pride Month celebration, promoting inclusivity, and one through the Trabajovenes program, spearheaded by the city youth officials. And this is a living proof that young leaders are not only waiting for opportunities to come, they are creating them for others. And because these jobs alone are not enough, the Metro Peso also strengthened livelihood and skills training. As of mid-2025, 215 beneficiaries completed technical and vocational programs, surpassing targets and ensuring that more young people are equipped with the skills to build sustainable livelihoods. Altogether, with the City Population and Nutrition Office, livelihood support has also been extended to vulnerable youth, including teen parents and young mothers, ensuring that empowerment is not only widespread, but inclusive. And we are not stopping there. In July 2024, the City of Naga institutionalized the Job Start program through Ordinance Number 2024-072, authored by Councilor Oying Rosales, making us one of the first cities in the country to fully localize Republic Act 10869, or the Job Start Philippines Act. So what does this mean to our young people? It means that young Nagueños who may have struggled to find their first job will no longer face that journey alone. Through Metro Peso, Job Start will provide them with the life skills training to build confidence, technical training to sharpen their competencies, internships to gain real-world experience, and direct referrals to employers who are ready to hire. Job Start is not just another program. It is one of our city's promise to young person, so that no young person will be left behind, both in school to work transition. And my dear Nagueños, these numbers are more than just numbers again. They are the 779 students who balanced study and work and discovered the dignity of labor. They are the 2,306 workers who sustained their families through crisis. They are the 1,678 individuals who now stand employed with pride. And they are the 215 youth who hold new skills in their hands, ready to transform them into opportunity. And they are the SK Federation, the city youth officials who proved that when given the chance, the youth themselves can lead the way in creating jobs. Altogether, through these programs of the city government and contributions of our youth leaders, thousands of Nagueños, many of them young people, have already benefited from employment, livelihood, and training opportunities in the past year and the first half of 2025. In Naga, we do not just prepare our young people to dream. We also prepare them to be skilled and to be sustained. And together, we prepare them to work, to build, and to prosper. And as long as we stand united, no Nagueño will be left without opportunity, and no young person will be left without hope. On peace building and security, when we speak of peace and security, we are not only talking about the absence of violence. We are talking about the presence of systems, values, and opportunities that protect the dignity of every young person. For Naga, this is both a challenge and a calling. According to Naga City Police Office, or the NCPO, through its Women and Children Protection Desk, there were 28 documented cases of children in conflict with the law, or the CICL, in the first quarter of 2025. By the second quarter, this dropped to 15, a 46% decrease. And this decline shows that interventions and vigilance in our communities are beginning to make a difference. But the story does not end there. While the numbers have decreased, the nature of the crimes has, in some cases, became more severe, with offenses shifting from petty theft and maltreatment to robbery, homicide, and even slander. This reality reminds us that our work is not just to prevent the youth from committing minor offenses, but to stop them from sliding into violence and high-risk behaviors that threaten both their futures and the peace of our city. The data also reveals where and who must be supported. In the first quarter, Calawag, Concepcion Pequeña, and Santa Cruz recorded the highest number of CICL cases. By the second quarter, Concepcion Pequeña alone accounted for nearly half of the incidents. Disaggregated further, it shows that our young men are the most vulnerable. In the last quarter alone, 100% of CICL cases were male. And this tells us that our interventions must be sharper, gender-sensitive, and community-specific. The NCPO, working with barangays, has already begun addressing this challenge. Programs like Project Dalan and the enforcement of the curfew for minors have reached 18,910 children and youth since January 2025, spanning in-school youth, out-of-school youth, and even barangay officials. These efforts are not just about discipline. They are also about guidance, prevention, and building protective environments. Because we believe in this truth. The law must always protect the dignity of every child. Even those who commit mistakes, prevention is always stronger than punishment. That's why we are also declaring that we are not in favor of reducing the age of criminal liability for our children. But security in Naga is not just about crime prevention. It is also about resilience in the face of disasters. When typhoons Enteng and Christine struck our city, 17 of our fellow Nagueños lost their lives. Hundreds of families were displaced, and yet the courage of youth shone the brightest. SK leaders were on the front lines, mobilizing rescue, communications, and relief. Civil society groups like Nagueño and Angat Buhay harnessed the power of volunteers across schools and barangays. In moments of disaster, the youth did not stand back. The youth stood forward. We have institutionalized this spirit of readiness. Hundreds of Nagueños have also been trained in life-saving skills Like for example, 103 Kamhay youth responders in CPR and emergency protocols, 104 in trauma and emergency management, 21 WASAR-trained youth in Triangulo, 38 UNCERT members guarding their campus, and even corporate partners like Biggs Naga with 35 trained responders. The SK Federation itself mandated through resolution that every SK in the city must allocate a portion of its budget for disaster risk reduction and management, or the DRRM. The first policy of its kind in the Philippines. This also ensures that preparedness is not only a duty, but a funded commitment at the very core of youth governance. Yet, we must also confront the gaps raised by our consultations. Many of the youth remain uninvolved in DRRM planning, not knowing evacuation routes or their roles during disasters. Many barangays still lack flashlights, megaphones, ropes, and even first aid kits. Too often, our young people are left out of drills and simulations, despite being the ones most often on the front lines. This is a weakness we cannot ignore, because unpreparedness magnifies vulnerability. And that is why the way forward is clear. The youth must not only be volunteers in moments of disaster, they must be partners in preparedness, co-planners in safety, and decision makers in resilience. Peace and security also extend to our freedoms. We recognize the importance of protecting spaces where young people think critically, write bravely, and speak freely. That is why Naga has taken pioneering steps, where we are the first city in the country to pass an anti-red tagging ordinance authored by Councilor Doc Jess Albius, protecting students, campus journalists, and community advocates from harassment and unfounded accusations. We are also committed to ensuring the safety of our campus press, because the safety of our truth tellers is the safety of democracy itself. In strengthening peace and security in our communities, we need to confront the violence that too often happens within our homes and against our most vulnerable. Last year, the city government of Naga enacted Ordinance 2024-023, authored by Councilor Gail Abunal Gomez and co-authored by this representation, institutionalizing the Naga City Bantay Familia Protection Center as the city's official hub for victims and survivors of gender-based violence. And through the centers, survivors, especially women, children, and members of the LGBTQ community, can now access a full range of integrated services: medical and psychological care, legal and police assistance, and social support, all delivered with dignity and compassion. This is not only a protection mechanism, it is also a peace-building measure, because a city that protects its most vulnerable is a city where safety, justice, and lasting peace can truly take root. And this is the vision we hold for Naga. A Naga where no child is left to the streets, no youth is excluded from planning, no journalist is silenced, and no community is unprepared. It is a peace built not by fear, but by dignity. A security that is not about punishment, but about prevention and solidarity. and resilience that is not reactive, but proactive and deeply rooted in the values of service. These efforts are part of our collective journey toward the 2028 finish lines of the Robredo administration, particularly on the vision of a walkable, orderly, and secure Naga, where we protect young people from crime, light up dark streets for students and night workers, invest in barangay-level disaster preparedness, and defend our campus press and youth advocates from red tagging. We are building safe and accessible streets. And when we integrate security into transport systems and public spaces, we make mobility smoother and communities safer. And when also barangays, schools, and civic groups unite against violence, corruption, and disinformation, we strengthen the very fabric of our democracy. Peace building, therefore, is not only about preventing crime or surviving disasters. It is about creating a city where every young person feels safe to dream, secure to walk home, and empowered to participate. Day or night, in times of calm and crisis, that is the Naga we are building, a walkable, orderly, and a secure Naga. On social welfare, if we are to be honest about the state of the youth, we must also confront the realities that weigh heavily on the shoulders of many of our fellow Nagueños. Beyond the classrooms and the sports fields, beyond the cultural stages and the entrepreneurial spaces, there are young people who live each day in vulnerability and struggle. Our children in conflict with the law and children at risk remind us of this truth. They are not mere figures of a report, but young people whose circumstances, poverty, unsafe environments, and lack of opportunities have pushed them to the margins. Their lives challenge us to strengthen systems that do not wait for mistakes to happen, but prevent them through spaces, education, and meaningful alternatives. We also cannot overlook our out-of-school youth. They are the classmates who did not return, the neighbors forced to work too soon, and the friends whose education was cut short. Every out-of-school youth is not only a lost personal dream, but also a lost potential for our city. This is why we are also proposing an out-of-school youth empowerment ordinance in relation or in twinning with the Kinabukasan Pathways program, which will be a coordinated response with the SK Federation and various civil society organizations, so that second chances are created and futures can be restored. And also, these interventions are not abstract. According to the City Social Welfare and Development Office, youth-focused programs already reached 1,212 young Nagueños in 2024. For 2025, the reported figures already cover 256 youth served across programs. And through this number, we will still rise once the official data for nationally funded educational assistances is finalized. These numbers tell a simple truth as well. Behind every program are real lives given with dignity, relief, and opportunity. Education remains our strongest weapon against vulnerability. Locally funded educational assistance supported 19 youth in 2024 through the CSWD, 18 youth in 2025, and while the four-piece youth development sessions held 17 youth each year to strengthen life skills and values. The government internship program, also run in partnership with the DSWD, gave 9 young people in 2024 and 6 more in 2025, their first taste of public service. And for many, especially the OSYs, this is not just a stipend. It is an entry point into employability, civic responsibility, and confidence. And let us not also forget thousands of our young people who got to avail the educational assistances under the office of our former congressman and now City Vice Mayor Gabby Bordado, that really lightened the burden for educational expenses from our students and parents. The painful reality of substance abuse also cannot be ignored. Through the Special Drug Education Centers, or the SDECs, 36 youth in 2024 and 25 in 2025 were engaged in twice monthly prevention and awareness lectures. A vital lifeline that steers young people away from addiction and toward healthier choices. Young persons with disabilities, too often hidden by stigma or limited by inaccessibility, are not left behind. In 2024, 97 PWD youth received medical assistances. In 2025, this number grew significantly to 172. Even for other constituents of Naga City, our fellow young people, even burial assistances were extended. 6 families in 2024 and 8 families in 2025 supported in their most painful moments. Children at risk. For children at risk, CSWD ensured that 10 learners in 2025 were supported through the home study arrangements at Pacol Elementary School, with teachers assigned to keep them within the fold of education. Our role as youth sector is clear: to amplify these truths, to complement these efforts, and to ensure that voices of the vulnerable are never drowned out. Because if Naga City is to remain a model of youth governance, our collective commitment must be this: that every single young Nagueño, regardless of circumstance, is given a fair and dignified chance to thrive. On diversity, equity, and inclusion. One of the clearest truths we heard during the local youth development plan consultations is this: not all youth feel equally seen, welcomed, or supported in our city. And when some of our young people feel excluded, it diminishes us all. Our LGBTQIA+ youth, for instance, continue to face ridicule in schools, judgment in churches, and harassment in public spaces. Many shared stories of name-calling, bullying, and even exclusion from community activities meant for all. This kind of discrimination not only wounds their confidence, but also pushes them into silence, self-isolation, and depression. We cannot allow a future where some of our youth feel that who they are is not enough, or that they must hide their identity just to belong. The same is true for our teenage mothers, solo parents, and out-of-school youth. Instead of finding refuge and encouragement in the barangays, too many of them encounter stigma, whispers, judgment looks, and heavy sense that they are not welcome. Yet these young people carry some of the heaviest burdens already: raising children, struggling to continue their studies, and striving to break the cycles of poverty. Instead of alienation, they deserve compassion, empowerment, and real chances to rebuild themselves. These stories remind us that inclusivity is not yet a lived reality. Too often, barangay programs and SK activities are still designed without the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. When youth councils fail to integrate the needs of LGBTQIA+ youth, teen parents, the out-of-school youth, or those with disabilities, the result is the same. The most vulnerable are always left behind. But in Naga City, we are determined to change this. We must build youth programs that are inclusive by design, where LGBTQIA+ youth are safe to participate without fear or ridicule, where young mothers can join without stigma, where opportunities for livelihood and leadership are open to all. Inclusivity is not a special favor. It is a fundamental right for each of us. And in this commitment extends to another sector often overlooked, our youth with disabilities. Too many times they have been left out of livelihood training, ignored in SK programs without accessibility measures, or excluded because there were no interpreters, no ramps, or inclusive materials. And this must change. This must change. When we speak of the youth of Naga, we must never forget that among them are our brothers and sisters who are officially recognized as persons with disabilities, or PWDs. According to our updated Registry of Persons with Disability Affairs Office, there are 1,708 young Nagueños between the ages of 15 to 30 who live with disabilities. But let me be clear, while the law and policy may call them persons with disabilities, I also stand here today to also affirm them as youth with different abilities. Young people whose worth, dignity, and potential are not diminished by their conditions, but whose unique strengths remind us that inclusion is not charity, it is justice. It is also a call to action for all of us, that behind every figure is a face, a family, and a dream. And the truth is, disability does not mean inability. With the right support, our young people with different abilities can thrive. They can also contribute, and they can also inspire. And I say this not only as your servant leader or your SK Federation president, but also as a brother. My own twin brother is a PWD, and I know firsthand what it means to live with, to love, and to care for someone with special needs. I have seen the joy they bring, the resilience they embody, and also the challenges that come with their specialized care. For me, this is not just about policy. This is personal. It is personal. And this is why our city must continue to fight for them. Our data also shows their realities. The most common classifications are intellectual with 335 cases, psychosocial with 332 cases, and physical with 331 cases, followed by visual with 236 cases, orthopedic with 200, hearing 131, speech with 94, and learning with 51. These are not barriers, but also indicators of the unique ways in which the society must respond. Through tailored education or tailor-fitted interventions, inclusive health programs, livelihood opportunities, and skills development that recognize their strengths and not just their needs. We also see their presence is clustered in specific barangays. Concepcion Pequeña has 219 PWDs, San Felipe with 189, Cararayan with 147. Records the highest numbers. These three barangays records the highest numbers, while areas like Dinaga, San Francisco, and Penequason, of course, have fewer cases. This uneven distribution also tells us that our interventions must be strategic and localized or hyper-localized, that no young person is left unseen, unsupported, or unheard. On a personal note, I think the birthday cakes every birthday is not enough. We must give them the rightful recognition that the tailor-fitted needs and the tailor-fitted interventions for them to also thrive and find their true potential. My fellow Nagueños, inclusion cannot be tokenistic. It must be lived, practiced, and institutionalized. Our health missions must also care for intellectual and psychosocial needs. Our schools must embrace diverse learning capacities. Our livelihood programs must welcome those who may work differently, yet with equal passion and dignity. That is why we in the SK Federation are forging a partnership. As I have told our PWD youth, we are forging a partnership with the PWD vendors of Naga City, ensuring that their products and creations will serve as the supplies for our events. This partnership is more than procurement. It is a statement of dignity and solidarity, recognizing the talents and contributions of persons with disabilities as essential to our city's progress. Because in Naga City, we believe that every youth, regardless of their challenges, abilities, or circumstances, has the rightful place in shaping our future. The story of our youth with different abilities is not about what they cannot do, but about what they can do when the society believes in them. On environment and agriculture, the environment and agriculture are not only about food security and climate resilience. They are also about creating meaningful spaces for youth leadership. And in Naga City, we are proving that even in a highly urbanized community, young people can play a vital role in cultivating both land and the future. Through the 4-H Club, we are nurturing the next generation of rural youth leaders, equipping them not only with agricultural skills, but also with values of stewardship, responsibility, and innovation. And these young people are learning that agriculture is not simply about farming. It is about leadership and sustainability. Our schools have also become gateways to environmental and agricultural engagement. Every year, at least 30 senior high school students undergo work immersion in agriculture, and another 50 college students take on internships and on-the-job training in agricultural projects. These opportunities expose young people to the realities of food systems and, more importantly, allow them to become part of the solutions. At the community level, we continue to open our doors through free trainings in urban gardening and regenerative and organic agriculture. These trainings are not just technical sessions. They are also acts of empowerment, giving our youth and residents the knowledge to grow food in their own backyards, reduce dependence on chemicals, and strengthen food security from the ground up. And because sustainability requires collective action, our youth organizations are also stepping forward. In partnership with the City Environment and Natural Resources Office, they have taken the lead in tree growing and tree planting initiatives through the Forest in Our Midst program. And this is more than a greening project. It is a generational pact with the earth, where the hands that plant today are the same hands that will safeguard the environment tomorrow. But we also recognize the gaps raised by our young people during our local youth development planning sessions. They spoke candidly about their everyday struggles with the environment, flooded streets caused by clogged drainage, and poor waste management. the weak or inconsistent enforcement of waste segregation ordinances, and the absence of safe, open, and green spaces where the youth can gather without fear of exclusion. Many young people also shared their frustrations over the lack of youth-led eco initiatives in their barangays and how the absence of visible tree parenting, urban gardening, or recycling programs contributes to their sense of helplessness in the face of climate crisis. These concerns are real, urgent, and grounded in lived experiences. They also raised deeper anxieties. Youth in flood-prone barangays such as Dinaga, Sabang, and Mabolo emphasize their vulnerability to climate-related health hazards because of poor drainage and waste practices. Meanwhile, in rural barangays like Pacol, Carolina, and Panikwason, young people spoke of declining interest in agriculture. And that is very saddening. With many seeing farming as a low-paying, outdated, and even discouraged by parents. In more urbanized barangays like Del Rosario and Cararayan, the youth noted the absence of urban agriculture programs, while aspiring young agripreneurs also expressed their difficulty in starting projects because of the lack of capital, tools, and technical support. And also finally, they lamented that barangay budgets often prioritize fiestas and beautifications over agriculture and sustainability, leaving them with few long-term programs that speak to their future. The SK Federation of Naga City has also begun to answer these concerns, not just with programs, but also through institutionalized policy. Beyond building their own urban gardens, the SKs are now guided by City Ordinance 2025-029, or the SK Budget Optimization Ordinance, which mandates green procurement, resource sharing, and zero-waste event management. This law ensures that sustainability is not just an option, but a standard across all SK activities. From pooling reusable equipment and reducing single-use plastics, to working with local recycling partners and the Solid Waste Management Office. Meanwhile, the city youth officials also launched earlier this year the program Tanim Kaalaman, planting knowledge about new urban gardening methods, opening up new ways to promote backyard gardening, edible landscaping, and modern sustainable food practices in urban barangays. This, coupled with the SK's tools, gardens, and trainings, shows how young people themselves are reimagining agriculture in Naga. At first, we thought it's impossible, but now it's possible to introduce agriculture to our young people. What these efforts truly signify is a change in mindset. We are breaking the perception that agriculture is outdated or irrelevant in the city. We are showing our youth that food, climate, and sustainability are interconnected and that they have a role to play, whether as farmers, gardeners, innovators, advocates, or policymakers. In the years ahead, the challenge will be to expand these programs, to institutional stronger support for green youth initiatives, and to address the very gaps our young people themselves identified. The lack of inclusive green spaces, the weak enforcement of waste segregation, the flooding caused by poor waste discipline, and the declining interest in agriculture. Because if we are to pursue this, the fight for a livable future will be won or lost on how much we invest in the young people who will inherit it. Naga City chooses to invest. And through the our agriculture and environmental programs, from farms to the classrooms, to the ordinances to grassroots initiatives, from cleanups to climate action, we are making sure that our youth will not only inherit the earth, they will also know how to protect it, to nurture it, and to make it flourish for the next generations to come. Quick break. On governance and active citizenship. We speak of youth governance. When we speak of good youth governance in Naga City, we must begin by honoring the foundation laid before us. Former Mayor and DILG Secretary Jesse M. Robredo always believed in the power of the young people. As early as 1989, Naga City pioneered what would become the country's longest-running youth political internship program, the City Youth Officials. For decades, this initiative has shaped thousands of young leaders until it was finally institutionalized in 2007. Many of those who once served as City Youth Officials are now serving as incumbent city councilors, department heads, public servants, and leaders in their own fields. I myself am a product of this program, having once served as a City Youth Vice Mayor, and I know firsthand how transformative it is to be entrusted with responsibility at a very young age. In 2012, Naga once again broke new ground when the very first youth code in the Philippines was authored and passed by the then SK Federation President and Councilor Rayan Rentoy. And this landmark legislation became a model for the entire nation, inspiring other cities to replicate it. And also here in Naga, we have always believed that good governance must not only reside in the halls of the City Hall. It must also be present in every barangay, in every school government, in every young person who chooses to serve. And this belief is not just symbolic. It is backed by the sheer strength of our youth sector in Naga, that we are not a small voice here in Naga. We are not a minority here in Naga. We are a decisive force in the life of this city. And also the numbers prove it. In the most recent voter registration conducted by the COMELEC Naga last August 1 to August 10, 2025, 822 of our registrants were young people aged 15 to 17. Imagine, 822, ages 15 to 17. And 1,694 were aged 18 to 30 years old. Today, there are 47,538 young voters in Naga City between the ages of 18 and 34. And that is 39% of the city's entire voting population of 121,773. Nearly 4 out of every 10 voters in Naga City are young. And this means that in every conversation about democracy, about governance, and about the future of our city, the youth are not just participants. They are also decision makers. But the strength of the youth sector is not only in numbers. It is also in values. The young people of Naga have shown time and again that they value civic engagement, that they step forward in times of need, and that they believe in volunteerism as a way of life. From disaster response operations to environmental campaigns, to peer-to-peer mentoring, to cultural events, our youth do not wait to be told to serve. They act. They also organize. They build. We build. This culture of participation, of standing up and being counted, is what makes our youth sector one of the most vibrant and active in the whole country. That is why when we speak of youth governance in Naga City, we also speak speak with authority, with legitimacy, and with strength of a sector that cannot be ignored. Our young people are not waiting on the sidelines. We are also shaping the present and defining the future. And because nearly 40% of our voting population is young, we carry not only energy of our generation, but also democratic power to shape the destiny of the city. That is what makes Naga's youth governance unique, and that is why the systems we are building here matter. Because they harness not only talent and passion, but also collective force that is already transforming lives. The City Youth Officials Program is a proof of this belief. Year after year, it has not only trained young leaders, but also allowed them to legislate real policies that directly respond to community needs. These youth officials have authored measures in the fields as diverse as youth development, transportation, persons with disabilities, including accessibility in public transportation and livelihood opportunities, mental health, artificial intelligence, protection and safety, digital responsibility, democratic processes, social welfare and development, public works and environmental initiatives, sports development, and even education. Thank you to our city youth officials. In this way, the program has become both a classroom and a legislative workshop, sharpening the skills of young leaders while delivering real contributions to the city. For years, the Sangguniang Kabataan nationwide has been marred by criticisms. That it was nothing more than pageants and endless paliga. That it was riddled with corruption. That it had become a breeding ground for trapo politicians. And these negative perceptions haunted an institution meant to be at the very heart of youth leadership. But of course, under my leadership, together with my fellow SK chairpersons of this batch, we made a commitment right from the start that we will redefine what the SK should be and what it must be. From the barangay level up to the city level's SK Federation, we resolved to prove that the SK can be different, that it can be transparent, that it can be accountable and genuinely youth-centered. We studied the law. We performed what is mandated. But we also saw its loopholes. And rather than being defeated by them, we learned and we innovated and we reoriented our mindsets. We shifted into a governance that is responsive, a governance that is needs-based and developmental. We also introduced good governance not just as a demand to others, but as a standard within ourselves. We restructured our systems, crafted mechanisms of accountability, and legislated boldly. And for the first time in the Philippines, we passed a comprehensive Seal of Good Youth Governance Ordinance, a pioneering framework that covers not only the Sangguniang Kabataan, but also youth organizations and student governments. We also enacted the SK Budget Optimization Ordinance, ensuring that collaboration, resource sharing, and sound fiscal management are not just options, but also our obligations. And we also institutionalized the SK Academy through City Ordinance number 2024-101, mandating a monthly capacity building program from the very beginning of an SK's term until its end. Our investments in our batch, as we always say, it's not only for us. It is a safety net for the future generations of SK officials to be also benefiting from them and to ensure that our next generation SK officials are shaped by systems that are nurturing and enabling. And because we know that systems must be backed by discipline, we also established internal accountability bodies the Association of SK Secretaries of the ASEC, managed by our SK Federation Secretary, and the Association of SK Treasurer, or the ASTRES. These organizations have declared a zero-tolerance policy against corruption and are championing intensified documentation, monitoring, and evaluation mechanisms. With these safeguards, we are making sure that integrity is not just spoken of, but practiced daily in the very heart of our governance. And we did not stop there. We opened more platforms for youth participation, strengthening representation by establishing the Barangay Youth Development Councils and putting in place a standardized framework for the conduct of the Katipunan ng Kabataan Assembly. And just for an update, it already passed the second reading in this morning's session. Thank you. These reforms guarantee that voices of young people are not only heard once a year or during sessions or elections, but are systemically built into our governance processes of every barangay. Even in this very state of the youth address, it is a product of that refinement, a demonstration of how we have redefined governance, grounded it with evidence, and anchored it with accountability. Because above all, we want to prove that it is possible to hone leaders of great character if there are systems that enable them, that nurture them, and demand of them moral uprightness and excellence. While I am here, and while we are here together, we will not stop. The work of reforming the SK, of proving that it can be a force for good, is far from finished. We aim not only to make Naga City a place where youth governance thrives, but to also transform it into a center of good youth governance, a living example that other localities, other local government units across the nation can also look up to, study, and replicate. And as Mayor Lenny Robredo have said, the eyes of the entire nation are in Naga City. Because if it can be done in Naga City, it can be done also elsewhere. They just have to find the right inspiration, and we have to be that inspiration. If the youth of the city can prove that integrity, innovation, and service can define the SK, the entire Philippines can be reshaped by a new generation of young leaders. Leaders who are not trapped by the old ways, but who stand firmly on systems that enable, nurture, and demand moral integrity. And so as we continue in this journey, let us hold firm to this truth that we are building here, what we are building here in Naga City is bigger than ourselves. It is a blueprint for a new kind of youth governance, one that is inclusive, one that is accountable, one that is visionary, and one that is unstoppable. Today, this legacy continues to grow. Since 2022, 60 new city-accredited youth organizations have joined our local Youth Development Council network, known as the Naga City Council for Youth Development, making it one of the most diverse and active youth councils in the country. The annual Naga City Youth Summit has also become a premier space for young leaders to engage in policy discussions, organizational networking, and shared visioning of the future. And also, let us highlight that our young people are not afraid to innovate. Through the 10 million S2 Cities program grant with WeSolve Foundation, our young people have championed urban safety through flagship projects like Skatopia, which was led by our former City Youth Vice Mayor, Alisa Robel Comeda. If nahiling nindo si skate park, that is the Skatopia project. It was funded with 1 million pesos. Also, Flomo, an AI-powered parking safety device, which was funded with 500,000 pesos. And smart street poles, multifunctional street lights for safety and walkability, which was also funded with 500,000 pesos. And these are not just projects, they are also testaments to the creativity of a generation ready to lead. Haranina. On technology, we, the young people of this generation, we were already born into a world of technologies. Unlike those before us, we did not have to adapt to the digital age. It was already our way of life ever since we were born. From the very start, technology has shaped how we communicate, how we learn, and how we connect. And yet, as it continuously and rapidly advances, so too do the challenges that come with it. During our local youth development plan consultations, our fellow young people voiced their deepest concern, that disinformation is weakening our democracy, that critical thinking is eroding in the age of endless scrolling, and that cyber threats leave our data and identities unprotected. We have witnessed how information can alter someone's behavior and build trust. But we have also seen how it can also destroy information and also our communities. These are not distant theoretical worries. They are lived realities that reflect the choices that we make, the opportunities we access, and the trust we place in our institutions. That is why digital literacy must now be interwoven in every advocacy we champion. Whether it is in education, in public health, disaster response, livelihood, or governance, it is not enough that we know how to use technology. We must also learn how to discern truth from lies, how to protect ourselves online, and how to responsibly wield the immense influence of digital platforms. True digital empowerment is about being critical, ethical, and conscious citizens of both our physical and virtual worlds. And in Naga City, we plan to advance and saturate digital and AI literacy in both schools and communities, making sure that no child, no student, and no barangay is left behind in the new digital economy. And then there is artificial intelligence. For many, AI sounds like the technology of tomorrow. But in truth, it is already here, reshaping industries, governance, and even daily life. The question is not whether AI will come, but whether if we are ready. Last June, Naga became the home of Limitless Gov, human-centered and AI-powered good governance organized in partnership with the Limitless Lab and the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines through the SK Federation. This milestone event brought together experts, innovators, and young leaders to explore how artificial intelligence can be harnessed as a tool for people-centered governance, one that enhances service delivery, one that strengthens democratic participation, and ensures that no one is left behind. And as part of this commitment, I have filed what we envision to be the country's first comprehensive local policy on artificial intelligence governance and advancement. This proposed ordinance will not only protect our youth and citizens from risks of emerging technologies, but also position Naga City as a pioneer, laying down the safeguards, skills development, and innovation pathways that will prepare our young people for opportunities of an AI-driven future. These commitments are aligned with our 2028 finish lines vision, where Naga will not only be a center of innovation, but also of responsible, ethical, and people-centered technological progress. Because technology, at its heart, is about power. It can be used to misinform or to enlighten, to exclude or to include, to exploit or to empower. And here in Naga City, we choose the path of empowerment. We choose to raise a generation that will not only adapt to technology, but will lead in shaping its future responsibly, ethically, and always for the common good. On investment and innovation. In a world where the future of work and business is increasingly digital, Naga City is positioning its young people not only to adopt, but to lead. According to the Investment, Trade, and Promotions Office, the Naga City Startup Development Program has become a strong platform for preparing students, faculty, and young professionals to innovate and compete in the digital economy. We began by investing in talent development. Today, 4 of our leading academic institutions, Ateneo de Naga University, Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology, Naga College Foundation, the University of Nueva Cáceres, have integrated technopreneurship skills across programs in engineering, in business, computer studies, and even the arts and sciences. This also ensures that Nagueño students are not just graduates with diplomas, but innovators with skills to create new solutions, new enterprises, and new opportunities. From there, we built a pipeline for startups. The idea to start a program launched in 2021 has become an annual tradition of transforming capstone projects into viable ventures. Supported by the Digital Innovation Fund, students and faculty are now able to take prototypes from the classrooms into the real world, addressing challenges that affect our communities. This is not just about incubation. It is also about youth-driven problem solving made tangible. To give our innovators a home, we opened the Digital Innovation Hub at the Jesse M. Robredo Coliseum. This free incubation and co-working space already serves 336 active users. Most of them are students, and a collaboration hub for startups, online workers, and digital creatives. Here in Naga City, even those without capital or connections have a space to collaborate, experiment, and to grow. And this spirit of innovation reached the global stage this year. The Naga City was named a finalist in the 2025 Bloomberg Philanthropies Mayor's Challenge with our entry, a tech-enabled early warning system using low-cost sensors and trained citizen scientists from Mount Isarog down to the Central Business District, designed to predict disasters like Typhoon Christine and trigger life-saving responses. For a city that has endured typhoons and floods, this is not just about innovation. It is survival, it is resilience, and it is a manifestation of leadership. And to support this bold entry, we launched the Ideas to Start Up Challenge, focused on flood warning systems. On August 8, 2025, more than 300 innovators from junior and senior high school students to college youth, young professionals, and enterprises gathered for a thematic orientation and design thinking workshop. And last August 15, the top 20 entries advanced to pitching challenge, where the city awarded grants of 150,000 for the champion, 100,000 for the first runner-up, and 75,000 for the second runner-up. The winning teams will have 2 months to implement prototypes and may even be contracted by the city government itself to power our Bloomberg Challenge project. As we can see, Naga City is building an ecosystem where young people are not just job seekers, but also job creators. Not just users of technology, but designers of solutions. Not just beneficiaries of programs, but also builders of our very, very, very near future. And as your SK Federation, we also commit to align our youth development agenda with this vision, to connect our young people with these hubs, challenges, and opportunities so that every Nagueño youth has the chance to innovate, to also compete, and to lead in the economy of tomorrow. On sports development. The sports have always been one of the greatest sources of pride of our city. Time and again, Nagueño athletes like TJ Amaro and Faye Collantes have carried our banner with honor, showing the world the discipline, courage, and resilience of our people. But we must also be honest with ourselves. For too many years, the sports development in Naga has not received the support and attention it deserves. Our facilities are in need of repair, and many barangays still lack proper courts and safe spaces for recreation. For a long time, the promise of sports have been confined to the medals and tournaments. But when in truth, it should be about building a healthier, stronger, and more resilient young people. I can also say this with conviction because I was once an athlete of the city. I know from experience how much difference it makes when support is given. From the earliest days of training to the struggles of competition and even beyond the games. And today I say this. We owe our athletes more than the applause when they win. We owe them support, recognition, and opportunity every step of the way. When we listened during our local youth development plan consultations, they told us that they cannot always access the facilities in their barangays. Because some said, courts are dominated by older groups or controlled by a few. They told us that sports beyond basketball are often neglected, leaving basketball, chess, badminton, athletics, martial arts, swimming, and gymnastics, and many more others overlooked. And they also told us that tournaments are irregular, sometimes exclusive, and often limited to fiestas or summer events. They shared also that their barangays, like in San Isidro and Pacol, makeshift courts on gravel or unsafe flooring increase their risk of injuries. They ask why district-wide leagues do not exist when so many are eager to play and represent their own communities. They also expressed frustration over unfair rules, favoritism, and lack of inclusivity in sports festivals. They also pointed out broken rings, unlit gyms, and unmaintained facilities. And most of all, they have asked for coaches, training, and structured programs that would allow them not only to play, but to grow as disciplined and confident individuals. These are not just complaints. These are calls to action for all of us. They remind us that sports is not a privilege for a few. It is a right for every young person. They remind us also that sports is not just about medals. It is about health. It is about inclusion. It is about teamwork. It is about hope. That is why also last year, I joined Councilor Gayla Bonal Gomez in filing a resolution temporarily suspending the bidding process for the lease, development, and utilization of certain portions of the Metro Naga Development Complex. I think you've heard about this issue, that the Metro Naga Sports Complex will be leased. We did this to protect one of our city's most important public assets from being commercialized at the expense of our youth. And we are really glad that because of the commitments of Senator Chis Escudero in collaboration with our Mayor Lenny Robredo, our Metro Naga Sports Complex is now under rehabilitation and repairs. And so let's clap our hands. And also in November last year, 2024, the SK Federation of Naga City also passed a resolution vehemently opposing the lease of the Metro Naga Sports Complex and urging the repeal of Ordinance Number 2023-096. This was a bold and historic act of youth leadership, a call for community-centered management that prioritizes youth accessibility, grassroots sports development, and public welfare over profit. But protecting spaces is only the beginning. Moving forward, we must repair and rehabilitate our existing facilities, while also creating new, safe, and welcoming spaces where every child can play. We must open opportunities beyond basketball, supporting a diversity of sports where every talent has the chance to shine. We must institutionalize inter-barangay and district-wide leagues so that camaraderie and unity are built across our communities. We must invest in grassroots and structured training programs, bringing in coaches, clinics, and mentors who can guide our youth to successes. And beyond our athletes, we must also invest in building the next generation of sports officials. Soon, we will introduce a program that trains and certifies young people as referees, marshals, scorekeepers, and organizers, creating a pool of professional youth sports officials who can be tapped and hired by the barangay or their district or citywide events. This will not only improve the fairness and professionalism of our games, but also give our young Nagueños opportunities for skills development, livelihood, and leadership in a circular economy. And as we look forward, let us not also forget our LGU coaches, the unsung heroes who dedicate themselves to training, motivating, and guiding our athletes. They too must feel valued and supported, not only with resources and proper compensation, but also with recognition and professional development. For if we expect our athletes to succeed, we must first take care of those who prepare them for success. And above all, we must make sure that our athletes know that they are valued not only for the medals they bring us, but for the discipline, inspiration, and the resilience that they embody. They are not just competitors. They can also serve as role models, leaders, and dreamers whose journey deserves our unwavering support. Sports is not just a side issue or recreation. Sports is also a youth issue, a health issue, a development issue. And if we get it right, it can be one of our city's greatest investments in building a generation that is stronger, more united, and resilient. And in Naga City, it is time that sports takes its rightful space. Not at the sidelines, but at the very heart of youth development. Onti na lang, promise. On arts and culture, when we spoke with our young people during our consultations, a common concern has emerged that arts and culture are not being given the space that they deserve. For too long, youth with gifts in singing, dancing, writing, and painting have had few outlets to express themselves. Beyond the occasional fiesta show, there are no sustained programs to nurture creativity. While athletes are celebrated, artists are often invisible. The young painter is left without brushes, the aspiring dancer without a mentor, the poet without a stage. And this neglect does not just waste talent. It denies our youth a chance to discover their own voice and their own worth. Worse still, many young people admitted that they no longer know their own heritage. They are unaware of their barangay's history or their cultural figures who came before them. Traditional dances, crafts, and stories feel far away from their world, while programs that should bridge the past and present are missing. This cultural disconnection leaves a generation adrift, without roots to anchor them, without pride to propel them forward. Yet, beneath this neglect lies enormous potential. Our youth are still creating, often in silence, often online, even without recognitions. They post their music, their poetry, their art, but receive no mentorship, no platform, or no support. Creativity still dismissed as panlingaw, as what was mentioned in the LYDP consultation forms. Just as a pastime instead of a pathway to identity, livelihood, and leadership. And yet creativity is power. It heals, it teaches, it builds resilience, and it tells the story of who we are. And let us be clear also, artistic expression today is not limited to the traditional. Our youth are shaping bold new spaces of identity and culture. In cosplay, in drag, in digital art, in modern music and film. These forms may be new, but they are also no less powerful. They are acts of courage, of imagination, and of belonging. They are the proof that creativity evolves with every generation and that we must evolve with it. This is why we also stand firmly with the Robredo administration's 2028 finish line on preserving Naga's history, language, and heritage. That this is not only about protecting the past, it is about empowering the present and securing the future. It calls for citizen-led efforts to preserve Bicol language and cultural identity, recognition and incentivization of creatives, stronger cultural education, and institutional and legal support for arts and heritage. For the youth of Naga, this finish line is not just a target, but it becomes a future lifeline. And here in Naga, we are already moving. In the SK Budget Optimization Ordinance of 2025, we have institutionalized measures to engage our local talent, actively involving local trainers, performers, and facilitators, and also specialists in design and implementation of programs. This also ensures not only quality and sustainability, but also that every peso spent uplifts our own people. The ordinance also mandates that supplies for tokens, events, and other needs be procured locally, directly supporting the creative economy and giving opportunities to our local artists, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Because if sports can build discipline, the arts can build imagination. If livelihood can sustain the body, the culture sustain the spirit. And if we want a generation that knows who they are, where they come from, and how far they can go, then we must create spaces where their voices, in whatever form, song, brush, poem, cosplay, or drag, are heard, honored, and celebrated. Lastly, spiritual formation. One of the most profound concerns raised during our consultations was not just about jobs or schools or education or other opportunities, but it was also about something more quiet, more internal, and more in the search for values, meaning, and spiritual grounding. Progress is not measured only in buildings built for jobs created. Progress is also measured in how we nurture the values, faith, and moral compass of our young people. And in Naga City, our youth have spoken clearly. They are yearning for guidance, for safe spaces, and for purpose. Many of our young people told us that they feel disconnected from values formation activities or opportunities for spiritual guidance. Barangay programs often emphasize material services, but rarely carve out space for reflection, moral development, or purpose-seeking. Youth from broken or displaced families spoke of the absence of role models at home, leaving them vulnerable to struggles of identity and direction. Others, including out-of-school youth, teen mothers, and LGBTQIA+ youth, long for what they call a life-centered spirituality. Not dogma, not judgment, but compassion, mentoring, and guidance that meets them from where they are. Too often, however, they find exclusion instead of acceptance. Faith-based activities, as they said, remain adult-led and hard to relate into. Repetitive or lecture style with little relevance to their lived experience. And as a result, many feel alienated, spiritually lost, or even fatigued. One young person, to put it simply, said, "We are entertained, but no one asks how we are inside." Another admitted, "We are judged when what we need is acceptance." These words should move us all. They reveal a yearning for safe spaces where youth can ask difficult questions, share their struggles, and discover their purpose. And as a city, we cannot ignore these voices. It may not be as exciting as those other subsectoral issues. Because while education equips the mind and livelihood sustains the body, its values and spirituality that anchor the soul. If our young people are to rise as leaders of tomorrow, they must also be grounded in purpose, in moral clarity, and in compassion for others. And for us in the SK Federation, and of course with the city youth officials, this is not just a call, it is our responsibility to pave way for what is to come. That is why last year, under the SK Federation, we also formed a committee on spiritual and moral formation under our SK Federation. Even if there is something called the separation of the church and state, we believe that there should never be a separation between youth and values, between leadership and purpose. We are also opening up doors for our young people to experience formation that is relevant, inclusive, and youth-led. That's why if you can see from among of us, some of us may be SK leaders, but on another purpose, we also serve in our churches. Not as public servants, but as children of God. Also, just look at where we opened our City Youth Month celebration. In a place both symbolic and historic, the Naga Metropolitan Cathedral, known as the mother of all Bicol churches. That day, young people carried the youth cross before the Mass. Children and youth filled the celebration with song, prayer, and joy. It was a powerful statement that values and spirituality must remain at the heart of our youth development journey. My dear fellow young people, the absence of safe spaces means we must build them. The lack of youth-led initiatives means it is time to entrust them. The silence they feel means we must open dialogue. And if we only give our youth skills but not values, we give them wings but no direction. If we only give them opportunities but not purpose, we help them rise but leave them to be lost. In Naga City, we will not let our young people drift. We will help them find their anchor in values, in purpose, and in compassion. Because the future of Naga is not only in the strength of our economy or the height of our buildings, but in the depth of character of our young people. But even as we work to ground our youth in values, we must also confront the realities that threaten to erode them. We cannot turn a blind eye to one of the fastest emerging dangers among our youth today, online gambling. What often begins as an entertainment is already becoming an addiction, draining not only savings but also dreams. Parents tell stories of children secretly borrowing money to gamble. Teachers share how students fail because they played through the night. Young workers lose their wages in just a single click. This is no longer just a private vice. It is a youth health, education, and economic crisis in the making. Recognizing this urgency, my City Youth official counterpart, Honorable Joshua Constantino, has authored and successfully passed a resolution expressing concern over the increasing incidence of online gambling and calling on the local stakeholders to step up public awareness, education, and enforcement efforts. This action reflects a growing consensus that we cannot afford to be silent while addiction quietly takes root among our youth. And as your SK Federation, we are taking a stand. First, by launching a citywide awareness and prevention campaign to expose the risks of online gambling, while offering healthier, more meaningful alternatives such as sports, livelihood opportunities, and civic engagement. Second, by working with our City Council, the Department of Interior and Local Government, and national agencies to push for stronger safeguards against youth access to online gambling platforms. And third, by building partnerships with parents, schools, churches, and civic organizations to create a support system for those already struggling. And let this be clear, the future we want for Naga is not one where the youth gamble away their potential, but one where every Nagueño is guided towards dignity, productivity, and always, as always, hope. And as our way forward, the SK Federation, in partnership with our city youth officials, the Naga City Council for Youth Development, the city government, and many, many more stakeholders, we will be launching these programs in the coming months. And if you are worrying, even if our term ends as SKs this December, either this December or next year, 2026, on November, we will make sure that these programs will be sustained beyond. We will institutionalize this to secure its sustainability. Because they are not just projects of a term, but legacies for a generation. Civic Sabik program, this is our flagship civic education agenda, rooted in the belief that democracy must be lived and practiced by youth themselves. It brings together 4 pillars: civic education in schools and barangays, digital literacy to fight disinformation, artificial intelligence awareness to prepare for the future, and civic journalism to strengthen truth and accountability. Through Civic Sabik, every young Nagueño will learn not only their rights and responsibilities, but also how to take part in governance with knowledge, courage, and integrity. Mind Lab Saturdays, a weekend-based enrichment program that turns learning into discovery. Mind Lab Saturdays will provide young people with access to laboratories, mentors, and workshops in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Here, they can conduct experiments, develop innovations, and solve real-world problems outside the traditional classrooms. And this will also serve as a bridging program for those students who need remedial classes in the areas of math, science, and English. Buhay Nagen Youth Program. This is our holistic well-being and vitality program that goes beyond health in physical sense. The Buhay Nagen Youth Program, it integrates 4 zones of youth vitality. ISIP, or the mental health and resilience. Damdamin, or the emotional well-being and peer support. Katawan, fitness, nutrition, and healthy lifestyles. And Sigla, on disaster, preparedness, safe spaces, and resilience. With quarterly rotational implementation across SK districts, Buhay Nagen Youth ensures that youth well-being is not just a campaign, but a lived reality in every barangay. So imagine, Naga City is divided into 4 clusters. Each cluster will host ISIP zone, Sigla zone, Damdamin zone, and Katawan zone. And after each quarter, it will rotate so that until all barangays will be able to cover the whole modules. Kabuhayan Next Gen Program, a comprehensive youth economic empowerment program designed to equip young people with the skills, network, and opportunities to thrive in today's economy. It offers workshops on financial literacy, business planning, and entrepreneurship, provides career readiness support through job matching, resume building, and interview preparation, and connects youth to internships, mentorships, and micro-grants for startups. Kabuhayan Next Gen is our guarantee that every Nagueño youth can transition from education to livelihood with confidence and dignity. Next is Aral Links Kabataan, a bridging program that connects alternative learning system students with both city-funded and barangay-funded scholars, or city scholars and barangay scholars, who will serve as their mentors and peer supports. Beyond opening scholarship opportunities, Aral Links is designed to provide academic assistance, tutoring, and guidance so that alternative learning system learners can improve their learning outcomes, strengthen performance, and transition successfully to higher education or gainful employment. It also ensures that second chances in education are not only symbolic but truly transformative. Next, Pintig Artista, the cultural heartbeat of Naga's youth. Pintig Artista provides platforms for expression in literature, visual arts, music, theater, and performance. It nurtures young creatives through workshops, exhibitions, and showcases, while also embedding arts as a driver of civic dialogue and community building. And more than a program, it is a movement that declares that arts are not a luxury. Arts are not a luxury, but as a necessity for healing, for identity, and for social change. Next is Game On Naga, our inclusive sports development program that builds discipline, teamwork, and leadership among young people. It expands beyond traditional leagues to include emerging sports, esports, and recreational activities, ensuring that every Nagueño, regardless of gender, ability, or background, has a place to play and compete. With training, clinics, and citywide tournaments, Game On Naga transforms sports into a platform for empowerment, health, and community pride. Next, the Nagaen Youth Emergency Response Program. The city's pioneering youth-led disaster risk reduction and emergency preparedness program. Emergency ensures that every barangay youth is trained in life-saving skills, from first aid and rescue drills to flood and fire responses. It mandates SK investments in DRRM, equips barangay teen hubs with emergency tools, and mobilizes youth responders as frontline partners in resilience. More than response, Emergency builds a culture of preparedness and solidarity where young people are not only volunteers during crisis, but co-planners of safety and co-creators of a resilient Naga. Together, these 8 programs are not just initiatives. They are our collective promise, our covenant with the youth of Naga. Civic Sabik and Mind Lab Saturdays remind us that knowledge and innovation are foundations of leadership. Buhay Nagaen Youth ensures that well-being is not only a privilege but also a right. Kabuhayan Next Gen and Aralinks Kabataan guarantee that no dream is too far, no learner is left behind. Pintig Artista keeps the flame of culture and identity alive, while Game On Naga ensures that every athlete and every young spirit finds a field to shine and when crisis comes, Nagaen Youth Emergency makes sure that resilience is not an afterthought, but a way of life. This is the future that we are building, a Naga where no youth is seen, unheard, and unserved. These programs are not bound by strength of our term, but by the strength of our commitments. They are meant to endure, to be handed down from one batch of youth leaders to the next, until they become institutions that outlive us all. And when history looks back, it will not only remember what we have built, it will remember that what we chose to believe in our youth, to invest in their power, and to stand with them during the crossroads of our perfectly imperfect youthful life. So digdi po nagtatapos ang satuyang pinakaenot na State of the Youth Address. Giyahan mananggad kita kan mahal na Diyos. Asin, para sa mga kapwa ko kahuvenan, perming girumdumon, na permi kita maging matino, asin mahusay. Thank you very much.
I will now relinquish the chairmanship to the SK Federation President.
So going back with our procedures, so the State of the Youth Address has been finally rendered, and we seek for the acknowledgement of the SOYA report from the City Youth Sangguniang Panlunsod. Honorable Rences.
Mr. Chair, on the part of the City Youth Sangguniang Panlunsod, the State of the Youth Address report is duly noted and acknowledged.
Thank you very much, Honorable Rences. On the part of the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation, Honorable Patrick Bernas, for the acknowledgement of the report.
Hello. I duly acknowledge the State of the Youth Address report of Honorable Jefferson Romeo Felix.
So on the part of the SK Federation, the report has been duly acknowledged. On the part of the NCCYD, Honorable former City Youth Vice Mayor,
The Naga City Council for Youth Development duly acknowledges the first State of the Youth Address of Honorable Jefferson Felix.
thank you very much. So the State of the Youth Address of the very first State of the Youth Address of Naga City has been duly acknowledged by the City Youth officials, the SK Federation, and the NCCYD. And for the closing message, may we now call on our City Youth Mayor. The rules are suspended.
To everyone who has journeyed with us today, both here and online, a warm and youthful greeting. What we have heard is not just a report. It is a challenge for us, then again, youth, to rise above comfort, to break limits, and to lead with courage that refuses to wait for tomorrow. The State of the Youth Address has given us the blueprint, but it is our hands, our voices, and our will that will bring it to life. As we step out of this hall, may we remember the real challenge does not always come with noise. We work silently, but let the fruits of our work roar the loudest. In our barangays, in our schools, and in our communities, we will show them that the Nagueño youth are not only witness of history, we are shapers of it. Together, let us turn vision into victory and commitment into lasting change. May this ceremony not be an end, but a reminder of what's possible when trust meets action and when initiatives is grounded in genuine care and service for the community. Padagos po kita sa paglingkod na may puso, paninindigan, asin paglaom. Liwat marahay na aldo po sa gabos, Diyos mabalos po.
Thank you, City Youth Mayor. And now to adjourn, Honorable Ibasco of the SK Federation.
Thank you for the acknowledgement, Mr. Presiding Officer. May I move for the adjournment of the joint parliamentary session of the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation, City Youth Officials, and the NCYD.
Any second? Any objections? Hearing none, the joint session is adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ma-picture kita, Maki. Ma-picture kita. Before anything else, may habol kita sa program. Dapat kaya part siya kang preliminaries. Kaso, mayo si mga mapa-oath. Pero ngunyan, may pwedeng mag-oath si Cap Al Rodriguez. Hello po, good afternoon po. And let us witness the oath-taking of our members from the Naga City Council for Youth Development. So please, stay seated first.
Thank you very much, Councilor Jefferson Felix. Once again, we heard the State of the Youth Address. Let's give a round of applause to our SK Federation President, the Honorable Jefferson Romeo B. Felix. At this point, we now proceed to the oath-taking ceremony of the newly elected officers of the Naga City Council for Youth Development. As I call your name, please stay here in front. From the Lambda Sigma C, Mr. Warren Tranquilo. From GWatch Naga, Miss Army Santo Domingo Nobleza. From the Division of the Federation of the Supreme Secondary Learning Government, Mr. James C. San Benaventura. From the LGBTQIA+, San Felipe, MX Kennedy M. Arias. From the Triangulo Youth Movement, Mr. Tristan Joseph Arcilia Cruz. From Nagenu, Mr. John Harold Villafuerte Bermundo. From the Naga City Persons with Disability Association, Miss Judian Roblas Prado and Miss Babeline Monique Alcadesa Federico. From Skatopia, and our former City Youth Vice Mayor, Miss Alaisa Robel Comeda. From Zonta Club of Naga, Miss Nicole Quiñones. From Reboot Philippines, Miss Poliana Reglos Villaralvo. From Multiply Ed Philippines, Mr. Ervil James Chavez Ramos. From the Copradia Youth Organization, Mr. John Angelo Gamoza Lavapi. From Akville Junior Youth Organization, Ms. Lely P. Paz. And from the UNC Pre-Law Society, Ms. Maria Charmy Magkawas Basilan. From the Sararo Kita Youth Mantra Organization, Ms. Alicia Dawat Cruz. From the Naga City People's Council, the NCPC, MX Christian Granada Arevalo. From the Naga City Youth officials, in her capacity as incumbent City Youth Mayor, the Honorable Maria Elizabeth Sinson Blanco. And to administer the oath-taking ceremony is the Punong Barangay of San Felipe, the Honorable Alfonso Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please raise your right hand and follow after me. I state your name.
I, Alisa Robel Comeda,
Having been appointed as member of the Naga City Youth Council for Youth Development,
having been appointed as a member of the Naga City Council for Youth Development,
serving as the local Youth Development Council of Naga City,
serving as the local Youth
Development Council of Naga City,
do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
the duties of my office, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines,
that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines,
the laws of the land,
the laws of the land,
and all ordinances and policies of the Naga City, City of Naga,
and all ordinances and policies of the City of Naga,
that I will actively work for the development,
for the development,
protection, and genuine participation of the youth sector,
protection and genuine participation of the youth sector,
that I will assist in the formulation,
assist in the formulation,
implementation, and monitoring of the local youth development plan,
implementation and monitoring of the local youth development plan,
that I will represent the voices, needs, and aspiration of all Nagueño youth with integrity,
and aspirations of all Nagueño youth with integrity,
dedication, and fairness, and that I will serve with transparency
and that I will serve with transparency,
accountability, and the highest sense of public trust.
and the highest sense of public trust.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Punong Barangay Alfonso Rodriguez. And congratulations to the newly elected officers of the Naga City Council for Youth Development. At this point, may we request our SK Federation President, Jefferson Romeo Felix, to join the newly elected officers of NCCYD for one group photo. And of course, may we request everyone to please stay for a photo op. We will be having a photo op by batch. And to Punong Barangay Al Rodriguez. And now may we request our SK chairperson to join our SK president for one group photo.